ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. So welcome to our Saturday morning session. We are in the journey of Mundaka Upanishad. Today we are taking up verses 4 to 7 of Mundak 3 part 1. In the first 3 verses we saw that Mundaka Upanishad actually segregated the what we call embodied consciousness and bodiless consciousness. The embodied consciousness is within us, which is linked with our body-mind intellectual complex and passes through all the processes which we pass through. Because without that consciousness, none of our sense organs can work, our mind cannot work, our intellect cannot work. So, in one sense, the body-mind complex is closely associated with the consciousness inside us, that is the embodied consciousness, which is called Jivatma. So, the Jivatma has been called as Bhokta, that it is actually also experiencing all those pains and pleasures which we are experiencing. So this is how it has been said. And then there is a Paramatma who is outside, who is just like a Sakshi, who is just watching what is happening, but not associated with the body-mind intellectual complex. And this body-mind intellectual complex is also called, Navdwara Puri, Navdwaron ka Sahar. Kyunki this is a big city. There are a lot of plants inside this city, and which convert food into blood and bones and neurons and so many other things. And this also discharges the waste. There are rivers flowing, the blood is flowing, there is like river inside. And there are millions and billions of, souls, insects or germs which are living inside us. So those are like other, species living inside us. So that is why it is called Puri. It is called Navdwaron ki Puri because there are 9 gates of this Puri. So this Navdwara Puri jo hai, this is associated with the consciousness, or consciousness is associated with Navdwara Puri. And because of that association, whatever happens in Navdwara Puri is also experienced by that consciousness which is associated with it. It may not have that feeling of pain and pleasure, but it passes through that process. That is what it means. And then the outside consciousness is just watching. So this is an explanation, beautiful explanation, that how the embodied consciousness associated with this body-mind complex is, conducting itself. We gave that example of a tire, air inside a tire. It's moving with the tire all the time. Whatever happens to tire happens to that air also. But once it leaves that tire, it is free in the atmosphere. Same happens with the air in the balloon or the electricity associated with an equipment. So these examples help us in understanding it. Now we will go to 4, 5 and 6 today. Mantra 4, 5 and 6. Now the verse number 4 is very fascinating, very interesting. So let's read it first. Prano hoshye sarva bhuter vibharti vijananan vidwanam bhayate nativadi atma kriyada atmarati kriyava nes brahma viddam varistha. ऐस ही प्राण है, that this Paramatma, this Atma, this consciousness, is the Pran. Pran here does not refer to the pranic energy. It refers to the consciousness. That the life force which is given to all the species of life comes from this supreme consciousness. एस ही प्राण है, यही प्राण है सब. All the species of life, they survive because of this. Sarvbhute, that is Sarvbhute means all, not only species of life, but all the bhut, whatever the manifested world is, all that survives because of that consciousness. And there the word has been used, Sarvabhute Vibhati. Vibhati means prakashit ho raha hai. That all this manifested world is illuminated or is manifested because of that Atma alone, because of that consciousness alone. So this is again reaffirmation that this consciousness alone pervades the entire universe, and all that we see in the form of manifested world is also manifested because of that same energy. Then it says that Vijanan Vidwan Ativadi. Vijanan means those who know this fact, those who actually experience this fact. वे विद्वान लोग without any, Ativadi means without any, ego, without any ahem, without any arrogance, what they do? They do Atma Krida, Atma Rati Kriyava. Now these are two words very fascinating. Atma Krida, Atma Rati. That वो अपने आत्मा में ही रहते हैं, आत्मा में ही कीड़ा करते हैं. रति मीन्स प्रेम, आत्मा रति मीन्स आत्मा से ही प्रेम करते हैं, आत्मा से ही प्रेम करते हैं, आत्मा में ही कीड़ा करते हैं. वो बाहर के संसार से they become detached from the outside manifest world because they realize that the outside manifest world is nothing but a manifestation of the supreme force which is residing inside me. So I don't have to go outside and look for my happiness elsewhere. So these people do not look for happiness in other people, in other items, commodities. Like they will not, be deeply interested beyond their essential needs of, survival. So they are not so deeply interested in tasting different variety of food, wearing all different kinds of clothing, going to shopping malls, going to movies, traveling to different places, and meeting this person, that person, this organization, that organization. So they are not interested in seeking pleasure in the outside manifest world. They become detached. They accept it as given, whatever happens, happens. They are neither attached nor detached. They remain neutral, rather, I would say. They are neither attached nor detached from the outside world. They accept it as given and they remain contented within themselves. Atma Krida, Atma Rati. That is, they love their own self and they play within their own self. Basically, they remain contented with their own self. And then Kriyava. Kriyava they do, Karma they do, but they do it without any, expectation, without any attachment, without the feeling of doer. So these three words, Atma Krida, Atma Rati, Kriyava. So these things are done by those people who realized, Vijanan Vidwan, those who have realized that the whole universe is pervaded by the Supreme. All these manifestation of life in different species is because of that. All that we see outside is also the reflection of the Supreme, and therefore the Supreme which is sitting inside me, I should be contented with them, and therefore those people do not have any desire to engage with the world. They neither engage nor disengage, they accept it as it is. So this is a very, practical way of looking at our existence. And then Nes Brahma Vidyam Varistha. These kind of people, they are very highly, rooted in Brahma Vidya. मतलब they Brahma Vidya में भी वो श्रेष्ठ लोग हैं. So they are highly rooted in Brahma Vidya. Now a similar verse has appeared in Bhagavad Gita, and I would like to go to that. It's in chapter 3, verse number 17. It says, Yastu atma rati revasya datma traptascha manav atmanevascha santustsya tasya karyam na vidyate. This is verse 17, chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. The meaning of this is, जो मनुष्य आत्मा में ही रमण करने वाला, आत्मा में ही तृप्त है, आत्मा में ही संतुष्ट है, उसके लिए इस संसार में कोई कर्तव्य नहीं है. He doesn't have to do anything. So this is more or less the same meaning contained in Bhagavad Gita, verse number 17, chapter 3. So this is one thing which we should realize, that if we can slowly engage with our own self, remain contented, whatever we have. We don't have to look for pain and pleasure outside. In any case, the pleasure outside is, limited. It ultimately turns into pain. We know the story of Yayati, and let me repeat it again. That Yayati, when he was about to die, the Yamraj came to him and, he wanted to take him away. He said, no, I've just started my life. I'm just enjoying it. So why don't you give me some more time? So he said, yes, I can give you more time, provided one of your son sacrifices his youth for you. So he asked all of his sons. Nobody agreed except the youngest one. He was wise. So he was wise because he thought that if my father is not happy even with such a long life, what is the point in my keeping this life? So he agreed to give his youth to the father. He gave the youth to the father. Father lived. This way, the Yayati, actually, it is said, lived for 1,000 years. And even after 1,000 years, he was not happy. He said, I did this, I did that. He was passing through pain and pleasure of pain all the time. And finally he said, no, I must abandon this whole process. This is not good. This is a cycle which is never ending. This will continue forever. It will keep you engaged in this cycle of pain and pleasure. And therefore he finally, gave up that process and requested Yamraj, to take him away. And not only that, then he, did a lot of tapasya before that, and he attained moksha. He was liberated completely from the cycle of pain and pleasure. So we have many examples like this in life. We also know examples in life that, once I know many people, and my own example, in fact, when I had a bicycle, I thought if I'll be very happy if I have a scooter. Then I had a scooter. Then I said, I'll be very happy if I have a car. Then I have a car. Then I thought I'll be very happy if I have a bigger car and a better car. All those things continued for a long time. So there's a desire to have all that. You have a house. Oh, I shall be appear with this somewhat bigger one. Then the bigger one, oh, I should have 2 houses, 3 houses, one on the coastal area, one in the mountains, one in the city. So, these desires are infinite, and these desires will continue forever. They are not going to end anytime. So, best thing is to be happy within oneself. How to be happy within oneself is an art, and that art can come only when we understand this cycle of pain and pleasure, which is infinite, which is never ending, and which is ultimately leading you to displeasure, to pain. Because you have seen in your own life billions of people who have acquired great strength, some very rich people, some very powerful people, some very famous people, some very excelled people in different fields of life, ultimately having a lot of sufferings. You have seen all these film actors, so-called stars, suffering deeply at the end of their life. I've seen their pain, so much suffering that I cannot believe. Some of them commit suicide. You have seen very rich people, many of them commit suicide at the end of their life. So, even after all those achievements in the physical world, we suffer. And therefore, we must realize that we should live and use the nature for our essential needs. Beyond that, there are infinite desires which can never be satisfied, and therefore we should develop an attitude to be happy within your own self. Now that can come when we think about our own self constantly. We have to concentrate on that process. When we sit in meditation, we feel that we are complete. We are Brahman. And therefore, if we are Purna, we are complete in every respect, why do we need anything else? That feeling has to come. And that feeling comes slowly, slowly with meditative process. A person who is Purna in himself, he doesn't need anything from outside. And that Purnata is there in each one of us because we have, Atma sitting inside or Paramatma sitting inside. And therefore, we are not lacking in any respect. And that is what we have to understand. So this verse number, this mantra 4 is very, very profound. Now let's go to mantra 5. Satyen labhyas tapsa hos atma samyak jnanen brahmacharyen nityam ante sarire jyotirmayo na subhro na paschanti yataya shen dosa. Now, how do we understand it? How do we materialize what has been said in the previous mantra? Now, that has been said here, that Supreme is residing in your heart. He is residing in your heart. And you should learn how do you behave. Your behavior should be regulated by these things. First is Satyan, that we have to be truthful. We have to we should have integrity. Truthful to one's own self. That is more important than be truthful in the world. That you should speak truth, you should behave with integrity, you should conduct yourself with genuineness. That is the first thing. Tapsa. Tapsa is, in case you have to suffer because of that, you should be ready. Because sometimes the people who are truthful, they have to suffer. And you should be ready for that sufferings. Tapsa. Then brahmacharyan. Then you should follow the principles of brahmacharya. Brahmacharya not necessarily mean not having sexual intercourse or anything like that. That is not the only thing. Brahmacharya means a regulated life, a life which is dedicated to the Supreme, a life which is restricted to the essentials of our requirements, a life which is genuine, which is, well regulated, how you manage your routine every day. So that is brahmacharya, and a life also for search of knowledge. Brahmacharya also involves that you are constantly having curiosity to look for the search, to look for the truth. So all these things. Then samyak jnana, that once you follow the life of brahmacharya, naturally you will reach samyak jnana. In Jainism, it is very much emphasized, also in Buddhism. Samyak jnana, that is, you should have knowledge, but at the same time, the knowledge should be balanced. Use of that knowledge should not be extreme. It should be in the middle path. Uh, you should follow the middle path based on that knowledge. So that is total knowledge, samyak jnana, balanced knowledge. Knowledge is not really balanced, but the lifestyle we follow based on knowledge should be balanced. That's what it means. And then nityam. Nityam means you should do this all the time. It should not be done intermittently, once a while, not like that. It should be done regularly all the time, nityam. So these 4 or 5 things, satyam, tapsa, brahmacharya, samyak jnana, and then nityam. If we do all these things on regular basis, then what happens? Then dosh shina, when you lose all your dosh, you will become nirdosh, you will become pure, you will become nirmal. All the impurities will go away, and then you will be able to see the Supreme. You will be able to experience the Supreme. So actually, we can reverse these 2 mantras. If we follow this kind of lifestyle, then we automatically will achieve Atma Santushti, Atma Krida, Atma Rati. That will be attained by those who follow this kind of, lifestyle. So what we should do, we should follow a regulated lifestyle, a lifestyle which is not engaging in desires, but restraining your requirements to the essential. 1, desire to have knowledge all the time, constantly. Follow a truthful life. Be truthful to yourself and to, speak the truth. And in that process, if you have to suffer, you suffer. You should be ready for that, tapsa. And then attain samyak jnana. You attain the knowledge and apply it in a balanced way. And then you will actually lose all your dosas, shin dosa. All your impurities, all your weaknesses will disappear. And then you will attain a consciousness which will enable you to see the Supreme. And once you attain that consciousness, then if we go back to the previous one, then you will become what? Vijajan Vidwan. Then you become the Vidwan, knowledgeable person with all the knowledge, with all the, profound knowledge of this universe, in which you will realize that the Supreme is pervading everything which is manifested in this world. And then you become contented with your own self. Atma Kira, Atma Rati. And Kriyava, whatever work you do, whatever activities you do, you remain non-attached. And you remain, you don't have the feeling of doer. These 2 things. And then you are what? Brahma Vidam Varistha, that you become a very excelled Brahma Vidyā. You attain Brahma Vidyā in an excellent way. So these 2 verses, they tell us a lot how to regulate our lives. Then verse number 6. Now, this verse number 6, we read the small part of it every day in our national life. Satyamev jayati nanatram. Ye Satyamev jayate, the word which we have in our national emblem, it comes from here. This is verse 6, Mundak 3, part 1. Mundak 3, part 1, verse number 6. That is where Satyamev jayate appears. Satyamev jayati nanatram satyan pantha vidito devyana yena kram trashnyo rat kama yatra tat satyasya param nidhanam. Now, this tells us that Satyamev jayate, that Satya hi vijay hota hai. Ultimately, the truth prevails, nothing else. Anratam, jhoot nahi. The lies do not prevail. Anratam. The jhoot, the lies will not prevail. Ultimately, the truth will prevail. It will, the person who is speaking the truth may have to suffer, but ultimately that will prevail. Satyamev jayate, anratam, jhoot nahi. Devyan pantha satyan vitat. Now we know Devyan and the two paths, Devyan and Pitrayan. They are also called Krishna and Shukla Path. In Bhagavad Gita, they are called Krishna Path and Shukla Path. But in most other writings, they are called Devyan and Pitrayan. Pitrayan means basically the root which brings you back in this world. Pitra means, it's related to the life and death. So that is the path of darkness. It passes through the night. It goes to the Krishna Paksh of moon, and it goes to the what we call doom part of the sun, that the other side of the sun, and then it takes you somewhere. So once a person dies, these paths take you. The soul travels through these paths. So the soul which travels through Devyan, it is like a yarn, it's like a machine which makes you travel. And it's not like these, yarns which we have today, but much faster than that. It's in a second, it takes you away to trillions of years, light years away. It's a very, very fast. So Devyan is the path which is starting with the day. It is in the Uttarayan of the sun. It is in the Shukla Paksh of the moon, and it is in the Uttarayan of the sun. This is how it moves. It moves from the day to the Shukla Paksh of the moon and then to the Uttarayan of the sun, and it takes you to the place from where you don't have to come back. That is the Parampath. The place from where you don't have to come back, that is the ultimate destination of all the living beings, that is Parampath. So Devyan path takes you to that path. Now, those who follow what has been said in the previous mantra number 5, that we follow the Satya, Tap, Brahmacharya, Samyak Gyan and Nitya. All the time we do, then what happens? Then it says that truth alone prevails. So the truth prevails and you pass through the Devyan path, and what happens then? Apta kama rasaya akramanti yatra tat satyasya paramam nidhanam. Then what happens? That all the rishi people, all the rishis, all the good people, all the people who follow the path mentioned in the previous mantra, they pass through this path. And then they reach Paramam Nidhanam, that is the Parampad, the ultimate destination of the Supreme. So those people, who follow this path, they don't need to come back. They are what we call attained moksha or nirvana. They are away from the cycle of birth and death. So this is what these three verses are telling us. And we remember that this Upanishad started with a question from Sonak Rishi, who asked that what is that one thing by knowing which the whole universe is known. And Rishi Angira is explaining that one after another in different ways. And in this part, he explained that that force lives in our own heart, and it is actually passing through all the processes which we pass through, bhokta, but it is also associated closely with Paramatma, the space inside the house and the space outside, they are connected. So the space inside is passing through all the activities which the household people do, but the space outside is only observing or watching them. And then it tells us how we can be contented in our own self. We can attain what we call Atma Krida, Atmarati, which was also mentioned in verse number 17 of chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. So this is the path which takes us you to ultimately Deviyan, and you pass through that path of light. This is the enlightened path of light. And through you travel through this path and ultimately attain moksha and nirvana. So this is what these mantras tell us. Now we can adopt a few things in our life. It's not difficult to adopt the path of Satyam. At this stage in our life, we can always be truthful. Then we can, if some sufferings come, some criticism come because of that, we should be ready for that. And we can also regulate our life and have a desire to, learn more and more, to, follow the path of what we call, discovering the truth of life. And once we do all that, we will reach what we call samyak jnana, the knowledge which will be balanced and which can be applied in balanced way in our own lives. And then we can ride the Deviyan and reach the Parampad. Then we don't have to come back in this world where sufferings and pleasure, they go together. They cannot be separated. That is what duality is. The Dvait, the birth and the death, the pleasure and the pain, the beginning and the end, all that, they are, like the two parts of the coin, head and tail. They are all intertwined in this world. But once you leave this world, then those, Dvait, those dualities, they leave you, they don't exist anymore. And actually you also cross through or transcend the Trikaldarshi, what they call it, the past, the present and the future does not mean anything to that. Everything is, present at that time. There's no past, no future. Everything is in the present. So that is what Trikaldarshi, or sometimes the journey of Deviyan will take you to. The Parampad will be the place from where you don't have to come back at all. So thank you very much. Let's follow one or two of these, lessons from this part of Mundaka Upanishad. Thank you.